when we were waiting the other participant, we may start with Professor Berna Tunca and Professor Burcay Eruş. They will present us the gender inequality in geographical distribution and workload of obstetrician, sorry to pronounce, gynecologist in Turkey. Yes, ma'am, it's your turn. Thank you.
Yes. By the way, I did not present with Google Meeting before. I used to use Zoom. So I think now I'll click present now, right?
Exactly, ma'am. Exactly.
Okay, present now, your entire screen, right?
Of course.
Okay. And then share. Oops. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you see my presentation?
Very clearly.
Okay. So, okay. So you see my presentation, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you very much for today. I'm going to present inequalities in geographical distribution and workload of obstetricians and gynecology specialists by gender in Turkey. This is a joint work of Burcay Eruş and me. Okay, let me start with overview. Preferences of patients regarding gender of specialists have been previously reported in obstetrics and gynecology, where patients are predominantly female. So where patients are predominantly from one gender group. Following the policy change, allowing selection of the physician by the patient in Turkey, distribution of obstetrics and gynecology specialists by gender across provinces has been an important indicator of access to healthcare for people, for patients. This study aims to analyze the distribution of obstetrics and gynecologists by gender across provinces in Turkey. Particular emphasis is given to the association with the conservativeness of the province and resulting workload of obstetrics and gynecologists. Data obtained from the Ministry of Health provides the number of male and female specialists by province in Turkey in 2016. Also available is the number of patients treated and number of deliveries performed by male and female specialists in 2015. And we show detailed statistics and correlation with votes by conservative parties in general elections are used to assess the distribution of specialists and its correlation with conservativeness as well as resulting workload of female specialists. Results show that more conservative provinces in Turkey, measured by the vote share of a conservative political party, AKP, have a higher ratio of female specialists. As to the workload, we find that lower ratio of female specialists in less conservative provinces results in more outpatient visits and deliveries per female specialists. While the conservative provinces receive more female specialists, other provinces in Turkey compensate for that with higher workload, higher female specialist workload. And high workload of female specialists may have negative health effects and may also lead to lower quality of care in healthcare facilities. Let me talk about the literature a little bit. When you look at the literature, evidence for the role of healthcare provider gender in patient's choice has been investigated, but especially for the specialties such as obstetrics and gynecology, where patients are predominantly from one gender group, which is female. But actually, literature in Turkey is lacking of this kind of study, which is, I think, quite important, specifically for the public policy, health policy makers, in order to distribute the healthcare services equally among different provinces in Turkey. So when we look at the literature, we see that some studies find in a non-Western society that most women prefer female specialists because of sociocultural values. And the other study finds similar results for Muslim women. The other study report that more than 85% of Syrian patients preferred female obstetrician. And the other study find that 74% of Iraqi patients preferred female gynecologists. Well, I can show one important study from Turkey by Demirgöz et al. In Turkey, mainly Muslim populated country, patients who prefer female specialists state that they have high quality of communication, less embarrassment, and that they are more satisfied due to their religious beliefs. So our data used in this study are obtained from the Ministry of Health in Turkey. And our data has the total number of male and female obstetrician and gynecologists from public hospitals at a province level for the years between 2012 and 2016. We also have the number of patients treated by male and female specialists, both at a province level and hospital level from 2015, and the number of childbirth delivered by male and female specialists at a province level in 1915. And for our investigation, we employ the data from the latest year available, namely 2016 for the number of specialists by provinces and 2015 for the workload of physicians, because you will see that later on we will establish a bridge between workload of specialists, okay, and then the number of patients treated by specialists. And we should note that the physician count reflects the beginning of the year and hence is highly correlated with a correlation coefficient of 0.996 with the numbers from the previous year. Well, methodology. In order to measure the difference in the gender composition of obstetrics and gynecologists across provinces in Turkey, we use the ratio of female specialists to total number of specialists at a province level. And our measure of conservativeness of a province is defined by the share of the votes for a conservative political party, AKP, or in other words, Justice and Development Party. In order to examine the relation between conservativeness of the province and female share among obstetrics and gynecologists, two continuous variables, our analysis makes use of correlation between the variables. We also report the results from a simple regression of female share on our conservativeness measure. We hypothesize that female ratio is higher in provinces that are more conservative, which is measured by the vote share of AKP, okay? And to measure the workload imbalance between male and female specialists, we have two variables, number of outpatient visits and number of deliveries, childbirth. We construct two continuous dependent variables for each, respectively the ratio of patients per female specialists to patients per male specialists and the number of patients per female specialists. While the former presents the workload relative to male specialists, the latter gives an absolute measure. And then we measure the correlation of the dependent variable with the ratio of female specialists to the total and perform simple linear regressions. Well, results. So this table shows us just basic descriptive statistics. Our analysis shows that on average there are 26.66 specialists in provinces with a standard deviation of 14.25. Female specialists make up 43% of the total number of specialists on average with standard deviation of 0.16. Actually, these descriptive statistics show that our data is meaningful to make this kind of analysis. So while the descriptive statistics indicate an imbalanced distribution between female and male specialists, in order to examine its relation with conservativeness of the provinces, which is measured by vote share of AKP, we use the ratio of female specialists as our dependent variable and the vote share of conservative political party as our independent variable. And then we conclude that the correlation is high with 0.63 and with a significant p-value. So simple regression estimation finds the coefficient for the conservativeness measure to be 0.74, significant and 95% confidence level, which is very strong. Assuming that the vote share of AKP reflects conservativeness of the province, female specialists make a larger part of overall specialists practicing in conservative regions, in line with the hypothesis. Given the results showing composition of specialists to be related to the conservativeness of the province, we next look into the workload of specialists at the province level, by gender, of course. And the ratio of outpatient visits by female to male specialists has an average of 1 with a standard deviation of 0.40, indicating a balanced workload on average. Yet, the high level of standard error points out that there may be imbalances in certain provinces. For the deliveries, the ratio is 0.65 with a standard deviation of 0.45. This figure will be explained if female specialists prefer to work in usual office hours and try to avoid overtimes, as deliveries are more difficult to schedule to be at certain times than others. Similar to outpatient visits, a high level of standard deviation is investigated. In order to assess the relation between the workload imbalance across female and male specialists across genders and gender imbalance, we look into the correlation between the ratio of patients per female specialists to per male specialists and ratio of female specialists to the total number of specialists across provinces in Turkey. And then we find that the correlation is negative at 0.53 with a significant p-value. Regression analysis shows that each percentage point increase in female ratio among specialists is associated with a decrease in the relative workload of female specialists by 1.31 percentage points. So this obviously shows that the workload for female obstetrics and gynecologists is higher in provinces where female specialists ratio is lower. I mean, in other words, this indicates that the workload of female obstetrics and gynecologists is higher in less conservative provinces, because in those provinces, I mean, less conservative provinces, female specialists ratio is lower, okay? Well, in turn, when we look at the number of deliveries, again, we reach the same conclusion. The correlation between ratio of deliveries by female to male and the ratio of female to male specialists is negative at 0.62 with significant p-value with regression coefficient of minus 1.38. So we again get the similar picture with outpatient visits. Provinces with low ratio of female specialists, I mean the less conservative provinces, so those places have higher workload of female specialists than male ones relative to provinces with higher ratio of female specialists. I mean, these provinces are more conservative provinces. So while the ratios are telling about the distribution of workload between male and female specialists, they do not allow a comparison for absolute differences across provinces in imbalanced work. The correlation of number of outpatient visits and deliveries with the female specialist ratios are also negative at 0.45 with a significant p-value. and 0.15 respectively, but is not significant for the deliveries. Well, so in sum, we analyze the difference in gender composition of physicians in obstetrics and gynecologists across provinces in Turkey, and the correlation of differences across provinces with their conservativeness shows significant results. We also look at the consequences in terms of workload of specialists. So differently from several other studies on this topic in literature, our study uses hospital administrative data set because the previous studies usually use survey data, not hospital administrative data. So this makes our study actually more significant, I think, in terms of results. And our study focused on the consequences of patient preferences in terms of specialist distribution and workload. And our study is in parallel, on the other hand, with findings of the previous literature in the sense that we conclude both the distribution of specialists and their workload to be in line for a preference of female healthcare providers. Well, there are various explanations for this. For instance, female patients may have a good quality of communication with female specialists, less embarrassment, or they may be more comfortable due to their religious beliefs. And our results represent that the current distribution of specialists is associated with the conservativeness of the provinces, where more conservative provinces have a higher proportion of female doctors. On the other hand, we also observe shortcomings of female specialists in less conservative provinces, and accordingly, female doctors in less conservative provinces face a higher workload than those in conservative regions, which may significantly affect the quality of healthcare in less conservative provinces. While the conservative provinces have more female doctors, other provinces compensate for that with higher female workload, again, which may significantly affect the quality of healthcare. And high workload of female doctors should signal to public health policy makers to assess to what extent the distribution of obstetrician and gynecologists meet the patient demand. Well, unfavorable situation in less conservative provinces, again, may have negative health effects and may lead to lower quality of care. Okay, and also high patient volume in less conservative provinces and high workload and concluding resulting poor working conditions may cause low job satisfaction among female doctors and poor access to healthcare among female patients as a result of high workload. So I think this is a very critical issue for public health policy makers. That's why high workload of female doctors should signal to public health policy makers to assess to what extent the distribution of specialists by gender meet the patient demand. Well, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Professor. I really listened each word of you very carefully. Thank you very much. Such a nice presentation. Actually, I was working on labor economics, so it's very interesting. And we just released a book with Professor Meltem İnce Yenilmez from Yaşar University, book about gender equality in labor markets. That's very nice presentation. Thank you very much. I just impersonal question. Sure. Maybe I missed sure. During the presentation. Is there any preference rate during when they applying the specialization exam in medical in terms of gender for obstetrician and gynecologist?
Preference rate of patients, you know, right? You mean?
Yeah.
Data, right? Data, you mean if our data includes the preference rate of patients?
Yes.
No, we don't have that. So that's why, well, we are publishing this work soon. We got 2 revisions. our title was actually, your point is very good. Before our title was patient's preference for doctors, but since we don't have any preference rate coming from patients in our data, they asked us to change our topic. Yes, we do not test our data and results. I mean, we do not test our hypothesis based on patients' preferences directly by using the patient preference data. We just have the distribution. And with respect to the conservativeness of the provinces, well, have that, unfortunately. There is no data existing. Maybe some survey data, but we don't have that, no.
Okay, okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, thanks.
Are there any other contribution or questions for Professor Berna Tuncay? If you have some question, you may still write it on the chat side.
Sure.
Currently, we should continue with colleagues from Nigeria, but they haven't still logged into our hall. So I would like to continue with Professor Edip Sebahattin Mete. He will present us the effect of proactive personality and workplace reality on innovative work behavior, driving at work as a mediating mechanism. Sir, you have enough time for your presentation. When you are presenting your study, I will try to connect our colleagues from Turkey. You may start, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me go with my presentation. Where is it? I don't. Now it is.
Okay. Now we see your presentation, sir.
Okay.
No, you stopped it just now. You may share again. Show now.
Sorry. I was.
Perfect. You may. Yes. Okay.
Is it okay now?
It's okay now, sir. Yes.
Okay. Maybe I can do it this way better. Okay. All right. Okay. I did some research about the workplace environment. These days, the competition for the certain organizations, especially the commercial companies, are very important. And of course, the companies, they are composed of the people who take them to the lead of the competition. Therefore, their behaviors are very important. And I made the research on mostly in the area of innovation that today's we need it so much in order to be survived in the harsh environment. So the name of the research is, how the proactive personality and the workplace civility effect on the behavior, innovative behavior of the employees. And of course, a new phenomenon is called thriving at work, whether it plays a mediating mechanism or not. This is typical content, any articles. And as I mentioned previously, in order to be competitive and sustain the performance of the companies, a thriving workforce, it's another variable today is that very popular. Thriving at work are the key, and it relates to proactive personality, especially in the high technology sectors, defense sectors, media sectors, any other electronic sectors. This is very key phenomenon, and therefore, I thought that maybe I should do some research on the typical organization that they deal with the R&D in the defense sector. So another parameter or variable is that workplace. How is your workplace environment is? If it is, we call it workplace civility. It's a civil area. After the research, we will see that it also contributes to the innovative behaviors. So these are all interrelated variables. Of course, statistically, we used mediating, programs and statistic. But again, this is 275 employees in the high technology sector that research applied. So competition is why we do all these researches, because competition is very harsh in this area, especially now with the pandemic environment. It is even more difficult to compete. However, if you have the innovative people that you can use them properly in the civil environment, and with if you also detect the proactive personalities, you can combine all these gains to go towards the innovation, which will create you a competitive advantage in the business environment. So this is mainly the topics of the research. So because of organizations are facing a lot of problem with the competition, restrictions, and all kind of this. So you need certain personalities that will affect your success. So maybe innovation, I think everybody knows about it, but maybe behavior is, on maybe the researcher may know. The behavior is, the innovation is a steady environment that if you don't have work behavior towards the innovation, it doesn't mean anything. You need to create it. You need to make it run. So, so innovation also sometimes people may interfere with the invention. It is not an invention. It's a totally innovative behaviors that provides results of the better system, better product. It could be any innovative parameter. It could be based on price, based on utility, based on features of any product that you may have. So there are researchers that work on this, so I don't want to take much of time. I think I have only 15 minutes. So thriving at work, this is the new phenomenon. So if they have two, this variable has two dimensions. Let's say one is vitality, the other one is the learning. So learning is in conjunction with the innovative environment and innovative work behaviors and proactive personality as well. So therefore, thriving at work these days, mainly in the defense area and high technological R&D area, the companies especially focus on making the environment very thriving, so that people can continue to learn. When they continue to learn, they become proactive. If it is proactivity is embedded in the personality, then it will have a chance to explode it to outside, which will create an innovative work behavior. In the end, you will have your innovation in your enterprises. So this is the bottom line, actually. So these are the some researchers that work about the how to generate innovative ideas and etc. But these are normal literature studies. So regarding the innovation again, you need to create a civil environment. So this is also a new concentration of the most of the researchers because it boosts effective communication. If it is civil environment, nobody under stress, nobody under concern, then you have an effective communication. So that means you encourage the thriving at work too, because if the environment is very civil and you have an effective communication, so you get encouraged to make it is more live, more learning, and more vitality in the environment, so that they are all combined towards the innovative work behavior. So this is the important part of it. And as previously mentioned, proactive work behavior is the sometimes it is embedded in the personality, so it looks for the ignition, that how you can show it. But again, in order to provide this proactive behavior, you need the other parameters that I mentioned up to this point. So it's mostly the dimensions are, personal is very innovative person, and it doesn't mind voicing his or her ideas, and so they are mainly preventive people. So the two aspects that I was looking for, direct impact of all these variables to each other, and also then this is also traditional that now everybody looks for mediation, moderating, so which is a correct tendency. So then I said, okay, let's see which one it is direct effect, but if it is less or more, and let's see how the role is played. So I don't want to mention these are, more repetition, and proactive personality is, as mentioned previously, you need a stable tendency, to change the environment, and effectiveness comes together with that. So I will pass all this because I already mentioned about this. I only want to point out that I did not do this research, but some people also do the opposite. They make the research on the workplace incivility. So this is only an opportunity to mention it, that there exists such a things as well. So, as I mentioned, again, it's a two-dimension sense of vitality and learning. So I will pass all these descriptions because I already mentioned mostly about them. So then hypotheses can come out because, as I explained, there are relationship between the variables. So we can say proactive personality is positively associated with the thriving at work. And same thing like innovative work behavior, because I also explained that too. These are the researchers that made the specific studies on those areas. Thriving at work is positively associated with the innovative work behavior, and so on. These are the relationship and research that people made, proactive personality and innovative work behavior relationship, so that we can say proactive behavior is positively associated with the innovative work behavior. So, mediating, as I mentioned previously, that you need to know whether it's a less or more, how these roles are in the picture. And so many studies that I don't want to take up much of your time, but I can say that thriving at work mediates the relationship between proactive personality and innovative work behavior. And I don't want to get into this, but workplace civility also related to cultural values, which comes to the organizational culture as well. But that's a different research subject. But I want to say that organizational culture is also a driver of the innovative work behavior. Another study that I made, it is about those relationships. And so workplace civility also significantly impacts thriving at work. We mentioned this before. And about the relationship between the variables comes to the mediating function. And thriving at work is positively associated with innovative work behavior. Therefore, thriving at work mediates the relationship between workplace civility and innovative work behavior. So this is the model of the research. H4 and H7 are the mediating roles of the thriving at work between the variables. So I don't want to, these are the hypotheses already mentioned. I'm also looking my time at my right side, the clock. Its time is flying. And again, it's a 72% responsiveness. In the high technology enterprises, measures are typical, no need to mention here each one, and statistical correlation matrix and fit statistics. I don't want to again take much of time, but the result is the key. What is the result? So if I pass all this theoretical amplification, we all succeeded to support the all the hypotheses. Whatever we were thinking about, that's all happened. So if you enhance the thriving at work, you will see subsequently better innovation behavior. In the end, innovation that applies, whether it's a product, whether it's an environment, whether it's a process of the system or production of the system. So innovation goes in accordance with the thriving policy of the company. So empirically, mediation of these variables also finalized the results. So therefore, organizations are really needs to put more attention on the thriving at work of their proactive personalities. So with the thriving at work, of course, learning is the one of the dimension. Therefore, knowledge share, creation of the new product process, and innovation comes all together in that enterprises. So, what is this? The practical implication. Practical implication is that some companies says I'm not successful. Some companies I am successful. When you look at the success of these companies, then you will see that they really especially put a separate division focusing on how to make the environment more civil, how to make the employees encouraged and thriving at the work can be accomplished so that they can display innovative work behaviors. These days, in the defense and other high technological area, the creative people needs an environment that it will be knowledge exchangeable, free to express all the ideas. So that creativeness comes along with the innovation. So therefore, this study, practical implication could be said that managers have to offer support to unleash the sense of learning and vitality, which is the thriving at work. So in the future, of course, this is a small sample, let's say 275 people and very unique enterprises. Sometimes, classical in the research says, oh, I want to do this maybe in the longitude times, maybe 2 times, 3 times. But unique ones also gives you a guidance as well. So this is why it's, we cannot say positive or negative which one is better. Sometimes unique studies are good. Sometimes you need to generalize it to get better results. But for this study, I think that we achieved the goal of our intention. So, as I mentioned, the general function of the study can be done in the future with more than one industry, maybe, or more people. And bottom line is, again, if you want to compete in the harsh environment of today, the people human resources plays a vital role, and therefore you need the selective proactive people, or you need to investigate their proactive features of the people, but make the environment ready for them to express their ideas, exchange their knowledge, so that this takes them to do innovative work behavior. In the end, you will have the companies, in competition, successfully in the competition environment, and therefore you will return all your investment positively. This is ends of my presentation. I hope I didn't take much of time of the others. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. Yeah, we have enough time for it because one of our participants struggling to connect our station. So we have enough time for you. And also, maybe at the end of our session, we made some extra comments from you, if you want. Are there any questions or contribution for the Professor Mete's presentation? I didn't see any question on the chat side. So okay, so we will continue with Muhammad Kamal Al Hassan. He will present us the topic as women empowerment and political participation in Ghana. Now, word is yours, Muhammad Kamal. You hear me, by the way? Okay, probably yes. So could you please stop sharing your screen? Yes. Mohammed, your sound is not clear. Could you please speak a little bit louder?
Okay, is it okay now?
To increase the quality of your connection, maybe you may close your video camera, and you may open just your microphone if you want it, because there's a lower quality. We may listen. If you don't have any presentation, we can only listen to you.
Can you hear? Okay.
Still lower quality.
Yes, where I am, I'm using a solar system. Solar system is making the tune noise. Maybe that is why. I'll speak as loud as possible so that you can hear
me. Better than before, but I kindly request from you to increase your sound, increase your voice. Okay. Okay, louder. It's good.
Okay,
it's good.
Okay, Prof. Okay, Prof.
Mohammed, you may continue.
Yes, can you see my slides now?
Your sound is loud and clear for now, better than before.
Yes, Prof. Can you see my slides now?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Probably. Okay, now we are seeing your presentation.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Mohammed Kamal from European University of Lefke in Cyprus. I'm here to give a presentation, and the title is Women Empowerment and Political Participation in Ghana. I'll start with the introduction. Ghana was one of the first countries to introduce the quota system in the election of parliamentarians in 1960. Unfortunately, after so many years, women empowerment and therefore political participation have not been accorded the needed push to flourish. Ghana has rectified all international conventions on women and introduced the needed policies and programs with the aim of breaking the sociocultural barriers that impede women empowerment and political participation. These policies and programs have been empowered women in Ghana and therefore ensured their participation in political activities. Okay. Now I'll move on to the research problem. It has been observed that women in African countries are not independent in taking decisions because most of them do not have economic sustenance. This is especially true for married women because most of them depend entirely on their husbands. As a result of this, they are empowered and so they are not empowered and unable to take political decisions. Hello, Prof. Please, can you hear me? Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yeah, we can hear you, Al Hassan. You may continue.
Okay, Prof. I'll continue with the research methodology. The study relied on secondary sources, and this included data extracted from relevant textbooks, newspapers, reports, articles, journals, bulletins, and data obtained from the official website of the government of Ghana and other ministries and institutions. Then, significance of the study. The implementation of a good and sustainable policy is sine qua non to economic growth and economic development of a country. This study is expected to be beneficial to managers, planners, policymakers in their quest to make well-planned and result-oriented policies. One of the numerous problems of African countries is the implementation of knee-jerk policies. By knee-jerk policies, I mean these African countries, they will not implement any policy. They will just be there when the problem arises, then they try to find solutions. These are what we term as knee-jerk policies. This research paper will therefore serve as a rallying point for policy ideas and implementation strategies. Then I'll move on to research questions. I'll move on to research questions. The research questions that are going to ask under this study are: how are the concepts of women empowerment and political education, political participation defined? How does Sarah Hulpekile Longway's conceptual framework for women empowerment apply to Ghana? What policies and programs did Ghana put in place to address the barriers to women empowerment and political participation using the political settlements approach? Significance of the study. The implementation of a good policy and sustainable policy is sine qua non. Now, we'll move on to the conceptual framework. We can see the theoretical framework is from Sarah Hulpekile Longway, who is a gender activist and also work for the UN on women affairs, women empowerment affairs. We start from welfare. Welfare simply means that if you have a girl child or a woman, you should be able to take care of the woman by providing her with food, accommodation, and then the necessary conditions under which she can grow. We also have access. Access means that you should be able to offer the woman access. And access here is talking about education. Okay, mostly education, because education is what normally help people to develop. We also have access to land. You know, in Africa, most of the women engage in farming. So if the woman is given land, she'll be able to find her a way of sustenance. Then when the woman has reached the access point, she can then move to conscientization. Conscientization is at the level where the woman should begin to see that she is at a disadvantage, especially if you are in Africa, where women are regarded as second-class citizens. And for instance, if there's a family that has two children, one being a boy and one being a girl, and maybe they have money to take care of only one person in school, most families should take care of the boys to school and leave the girls. They believe that the place of the woman is in the kitchen, and that is what the mentality is in Africa and especially Ghana. Then after conscientization, the woman will be able to know that she has a lot of disadvantages, so she needs to work very, very, very hard so that she can also move somewhere. Then from conscientization, you then move to participation. In participation, women should be involved in decision making, so that they'll be able to affect policies in their country. And when the woman has reached the participation period, she can then move to the control period. Our control period is the highest form of women empowerment, where women will be able to control land, they'll be able to control labor, and they will be able to take decisions. From then, most of them can aspire to be MPs, to be ministers, and then even as presidents that can affect change in their countries. What are the limitations of the framework? The framework that I used, the Sarah Hulpekile's framework for women empowerment, has some limitations. And these are the limitations. The framework is designed, it's not designed to explain how and why a program works. Also, the framework is limited because it focuses on only 3 levels of equality, namely positive, equal, and negative. Also, it does not highlight the importance of feedbacks. You know, feedbacks are important. When implementing policy, you need feedbacks to be able to see where the policy did not go on well. Then you try to make changes to the policy so that it will be in tune with the people. The framework also neglects the role of the government as an institutions as a distributor of national cake and implementers of policies. It is the government that normally distributes the national cake. So the policy does not take that fact into effect. So these are the limitations of the conceptual framework. Then the second conceptual framework is political settlements approach. The solutions to the limitations of the first conceptual framework, that is the women empowerment framework, is the political settlement approach. Now, policymakers realized 2 things when they were implementing their policies. That one.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mohammed. Could you please wrap up your study?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Currently, we have one more presentation. Just because of that, I kindly request from you to wrap up your study. Summarize your study. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So the study or the political settlement approach will help you to implement policies very well. Then we also have a literature review where we'll look at what empowerment is, the socio-cultural barriers to women empowerment. Then there is an hypothesis, women empowerment leads to political participation, and women empowerment, the alternative, women empowerment does not lead to political participation. And then these are the data, this analysis, gender discrimination, domestic violence law, policies on capital for women, cooperative entrepreneur, the policies to increase women political participation. Then I have data to back. For instance, this data shows that after the implementation of policies in Ghana, women were given more credit for them to do their business. And so there has been an increase in the credits that is offered to women in Ghana. This data shows that. And then this is on the parliamentarians. You can see that the curve shows an increase in the number of parliamentarians that were elected to parliament as a result of the policies of the government. Then I'll move on to recommendations. Based on the findings, governments in Africa are asked to intensify education on women empowerment, political participation. They should also provide scholarships to facilitate the education of the girl child. And the legal steps should also be taken to guarantee the rights of women. That is the end of my presentation. And these are my courses.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your presentation. We have just present like 3 months ago a presentation about the macroeconomic performance of Ghana economy in another conference with my master's student. I may share that with you. Thank you very much for your contribution. We will immediately continue with Muazu. Muazu will present us the impact of entrepreneurship education program on entrepreneurial intention and venture creation as means of self-employment of Nigerian graduates. You ready, Muazu? Muazu, you hear me over?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Hello?
We can hear you loud and clear. You may start. But I may only give you 10 minutes to a brief presentation. Sorry for this, but I may give you 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, let me try to upload the slide.
Of course.
Screen share screen. I'm finding it very difficult to upload the screen. I don't know. While trying to upload the screen, I don't know if I can start.
Are you using a PC or computer? You will see show. Yeah, you will see a show now button on the bottom of the screen.
Show screen. Yeah, it's saying show screen.
Show screen, and you will share that.
Can I click show screen and it will take me
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it is started.
But I want to attach. How can I attach the file? It's giving me difficulty.
Could you please go back and open the your presentation?
Okay. My presentation. Having it. Wow. It's giving me difficulty.
Actually, you have shared a few seconds ago.
Yeah. Can I just, to save time, can I start while
Yeah.
uploading?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Can start without sharing the slide so that we save time.
Oh, I can send the slide. I'm trying to upload it. If it's done, it will appear.
If you want to, please send it email to me,
Okay.
and I will show it on behalf of you. My email address is written on the chat site.
Ooh, I have to, your words. I have to. Let me just start the presentation.
Okay.
As the title stated, basically, it's about entrepreneurship education in Nigeria, and we're trying to conduct a study that measure the impact of entrepreneurship education on entrepreneurial intention and venture creation as a means of self-employment for Nigerian graduates. Yeah, so the background, first slide says entrepreneurship education program was initially introduced into the country, educational curriculum, in order to aspire, and to create awareness to foster entrepreneurial mindset among, graduates in Nigeria. So that's the fundamental reason why government, introduced it into the curriculum of education. It means that every graduate of Nigerian university and any other higher institutions of learning must have gone through, entrepreneurship education program, either first semester for at least for maximum of 2 semesters. So the reasons of the introduction was because of the rising, graduate unemployment in the country, transition from school to the world of work. People will graduate and they cannot find fitting job, and lack of employability skills among graduates, and poor performance and failure of SMEs in Nigeria, and the need to make Nigerian students to be opportunity driven and imbibe the spirit of creativity and innovation. So some of the benefits of the entrepreneurship, is to over after 10 years of the introduction of the program, well, we realize that the issue of unemployment is on the rising day by day. Many people are graduating yet they cannot find a job, and many businesses are starting and they are closing within 5-6 months. So it gave us the impression that there is need to conduct a research. So after conducting a review of literature, we realized that a lot of studies have been conducted, to find the relationship between the education and what review. So we felt most of the studies were not conducted under institutional background. So we, as in our research team, and that's why, if you could remember, we submitted about 11 names. So we have to stream it back to 4. The intention of the study was to find out the impact of that educational program introduced after 10 years. What does it add to the employment problem? What impact has it made in the reduction of unemployment in the country? And what are the impacts has it made on the problem of early closures of business after starting after 6 months? So these are the driving factors, and because of the theoretical gap, we realize that no study identified has conducted this similar study using institutional background and combining the variables that we've taken. So in this regard, this study intends we develop a conceptual framework where we intend to cover, the course content as part of the educational program, the delivery method, and the facilitators, profile. I mean, the facilitator's profile is talking about the experience of the facilitator, the competence, and what have you. The delivery method is talking about the pedagogy, and the course content is what the content, the modules involved, and the coverage of the content of the entrepreneurship program. And again, we try to measure that on the effect on entrepreneurial intention. So when there's entrepreneurial intention, we feel that, okay, then from entrepreneurial intention, then it could lead to venture creation and means of self-employment. So the study intends to use dependent variable, mediator, and independent variable. So the major objective of the study, I wish I could share the screen, but I will send it to you, is to determine the effect of the course content of the entrepreneurship education program in Nigeria on the entrepreneurial intention, as well as venture creation. And again, the second objective of the study is to determine the impact of course delivery approach or method of delivering the entrepreneurship program on venture creation leading to, on entrepreneurial intention leading to venture creation. And the third objective is to determine the impact of trainer's competence, I mean the facilitator's profile. How does it influence, student entrepreneurial intention and towards venture creation? So these are the fourth objective of the study is to determine the effect or the impact of holistically of these combined three variables, the educational program, directly on venture creation. So with these objectives, and how do we intend to achieve the objective is we employ a quantitative survey approach, which is the methodology to carry out this study. And the methodology we employ, we use, a positivist perspective of where we considered epistemology as the philosophy, the guiding this study, where we use quantitative. So we use survey method, quantitative survey approach, to conduct the study. So sorry. So the methodology is basically we use survey approach, quantitative survey approach to conduct the study, and which comprise of developing hypotheses, finding the problem and developing hypotheses and finding research objective and answering research questions. And after that, we adopted, the population of the study will be Northwestern and Northeastern Nigerian universities, where we focus on graduates and on undergraduate students, where we'll find out the intention from undergraduate, and we find out whether they've established after graduation. So these are the population, and the sampling stage, we use a multi-stage sampling, where at the stage we do strata, and after that we use random sampling method. So the data collection, we use a questionnaire, close-ended questionnaire. It's going to be a mixed approach where we use questionnaire and interview, because we intend to collect data through the questionnaire, and we want to interview students, and the few sample we interview them, whether they're thinking of the venture creation will lead to self-employment. How do they look at creating the business? Would they want to rely on it, or they want to just a means of survival? So we're going to use SPSS and structural equation modeling for the quantitative aspect, and we're going to use an N vivo to do the qualitative aspect of it. So there is the expected outcome of the study is the study will also facilitate the development of policies, new policies in the country regarding entrepreneurship education and other curriculum development in the country. So another outcome of expected outcome of the study is it will serve as a valuable input to policy formulation and review of the entrepreneurship education. It will enhance the development or the improvement of the delivery approach. Once we find out whether it's fit or it's changed, we're going to change it. We improve the entire process, whereby the facilitators will be sent for further training, and the curriculum will be developed, advanced, and other modules that need to be incorporated due to changing world of today. Maybe we have to incorporate some new development in the entrepreneurship education program. So basically, the study is at a conceptual stage where we conceive the approach. We've chosen to propose the sample and the methodology we're going to use. And basically, this is all about this particular article, and these are the intention of the study, and this is what we want to achieve. So thank you very much, and I'm really sorry for not able to show the screen, but as I promised, I am going to send it to Prof, inshallah, in the next 5 minutes. Please, Prof, could you drop the message, the email address on the message, so that I can just send immediately, because I cannot.
Of course, of course. I've written it on a chat site. To spell ubingol@gmail.com is my email address. You may directly send your email to send your presentation to me directly, and I will share it on the other participants. So I would like you to thank you all for your valuable presentations, sirs and ma'ams. We have reached a little bit over our time. I would like to thank you all for your participation. Are there any question or any contribution regarding the presentation or conference? If not now, if in the future, you may email me, you may text me, or you may directly call me. I send my greetings to your countries, and I would like to thank you again for being interested in our conference. Thank you very much. I'm now stopping the recording. We will, right after the conference, we will upload these recordings to the YouTube chat site. Sorry. Yes. We will upload on a YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. So thank you very much. I wish you all a happy weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.